education report is a report that all home educators who are known to the local authority are asked to complete yearly. But you may get one around the 3-month mark after you start your home education journey. Our advice as a community tends to be, if you're known to the LA, then to complete this form, whilst refusing personal visits and keeping all other contact to writing. And this report is basically an overview of the education provision that you provided for your child. And in this report, we tend to include any progression our child has made, especially in the core subjects. We also include socialisation opportunities that were made available for our child, such as groups and activities. As a community, we do tend to say, don't give names of these groups or the location of them, because that is outside the remit of the home education officers, whilst also protecting members of that group who may not be known to the LA. However, you can still mention these social opportunities by stating they attend football, they attend scouting, they attend cadets, for example. And it is possible to do that without giving away names of the actual group itself or the location. And in this report, you would also include any resources that were made available to your child, such as apps, even board games that you may use in your education, books, online resources, online classes. You put all that in there. And you also mention their SEND needs if they have any. You can also demonstrate progress without sending in your child's work, because again, that is also outside the remit. Physical copies of work actually belong to your child. So when we're filling in this report, we tend to outline by example, written examples of what our child's actually done and how they progressed as a result. So you can mention what a child can now do that they couldn't do the last time you wrote the report, because long-term educators obviously have to fill these reports in every year. So you would explain how they did it, what they did, what resources they used, when they did it, and you would explain it from that viewpoint. The aim is to show that you are providing a full-time education to the age, aptitude and ability of your child, which is what is stated in the Educational Act. So any new skills that they've learned or developed, you would also mention in this report. And this applies whether you do structured academic learning or you do unschooling. If you're on the radar, you're going to be asked to fill in this report. The philosophy you follow as a home educator is basically irrelevant. The focus should be on the strengths, experience and knowledge and skills that your child has developed over that last period. And by that, I mean report to report. If you've just started home educating and received a 3-month one, don't panic. Make sure you don't use the term deschooling in your report. It's frowned upon because it is misunderstood. Do check out my deschooling video for more information on that. You can still focus on the skills development and knowledge that your child gains and the experiences they gain whilst you're in that deschooling period. So that would be included on your initial 3-month report if you fill that in and send it off when requested. And there are groups out there like H.E.F.A, H.E.F.A for support, and that means home education for everyone. And Education Otherwise is also another good group to check out too. And it's worth keeping in mind that some authorities do try and overstep what is and what isn't in their remit. And some authorities will always request further information, just as standard, just because they fancy doing it, I guess. And those groups I mentioned before, H.E.F.A and Education Otherwise, and there are others out there too, they have set up and have admin teams who volunteer their time, and they will help guide you through this process if you're finding it very difficult and it's your first report. And if the LA feel you haven't met their expectations, then they will send out a failure to satisfy notice. And that just means that they require clear confirmation that you are home educating and providing a full-time education to the age, ability and aptitude. And like I said before, make sure you emphasise and include any SEND needs and how you meet those needs and what resources you use to meet those needs. And many of us in the community also advise against sending in photographs of your child or photographs of the work or photocopies of the work, because that isn't in their remit, and obviously when you give an inch, they take a mile, and that can affect the wider community as a whole. Local home education groups are the best place to inquire about your own local authority and their reputation. Unfortunately, home ed team approaches do seem to vary county to county, with little consistency between them all. So it can vary county to county. And that is where your own local home education groups come into play, because a lot of them parents have been interacting with the local home education team and can advise you on their approaches. So any questions, pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you.